if you're joining from your phone, you may not be able to see both. We're primarily using the Q&A function just because it's a useful way of monitoring similar questions and it sort of holds them together. But if you can't access that, feel free to put your questions in the chat as well. And as I say, there'll also be a chance to ask some questions at the end in a more open forum when we can unmute you. And if you wish to put your hand up, you can. Otherwise, we'll get going. So I'm going to speak initially for a few minutes just to tell you a little bit about SOAS. We're then going to hand over to our head of online learning and our learning and teaching enhancement team, Mark Kerrigan, who will speak to you a little bit about the structure of our SOAS online degrees. And after that, you'll hear from our programme conveners. So we're joined by programme conveners in the areas of banking, finance and management, and they're going to give you an overview of what those programmes look like and some of the content that you are covering in those. And as I say, at the end, before we wrap up, we'll have a chance for question and answers as well. So what can I tell you about SOAS Online? So we are not new to delivering online education here at SOAS. We've done this for a very long time, and we're delighted with our latest QS World Rankings. So these are rankings that we achieved. 13 subjects were in our global top 10. And these matter a lot to us because they are rankings that are not just from employers, but they also provide confirmation of our global outlook, our teaching, our research, and they are from academics as well as from employers that feed into that ranking. I think one thing we're particularly proud of is that we were joint first for our international faculty in the latest rankings, and that really reflects the fact that SOAS is the world in a small place, and with our online degrees you have the chance to access that from wherever you are in the world. So as I say, we're not new to delivering online education. We originally here at SOAS delivered a number of programs through distance learning, and that was often in partnership with UN agencies, with the World Bank, diplomatic services, and often a lot of programs that focused on actually providing training to government officials across the global south. That started over the 1990s, 2000s, and it continues today. So we have over 1,000 students here at SOAS, so we are not new to delivering online education. So what's different and what makes our programs cutting edge? So over the last 18 months, we've worked very hard on looking at what does an online education look like through the lens of students today and applicants like you. What are you looking for from an online postgraduate degree? And a few things kept coming up that we have now had the opportunity to refresh our portfolio and to make sure that we're integrating those priorities in our online degrees. So one big one that keeps coming up is community and connection. So at SOAS, we are big across the world, but actually we're a relatively small institution. And that means that as students here, whether you're on campus or online, you have direct connection with staff and with experts in their field, and you connect with other students from across the globe. So we have over 130 countries represented in our online degrees at the moment, whether you're joining from Egypt, Zambia, Argentina, the UK, and you'll see we have a little activity for you where you can tell us exactly where you're joining us from in a moment. We run a lot of events through our alumni office, and there's lots of opportunities to meet and engage across our network of SOAS staff and students. And SOAS alumni, we often say, seem to get everywhere across the globe. So we've also introduced ways that you can connect through your course, and I know Mark will talk a little bit about those opportunities, but also you'll hear at the end about our optional study tours that we've made available to all our students. So something that was important to us is to make sure that our programs and our courses are really centered around you. So we wanted to ensure that the experience you're getting with a SOAS online degree is equivalent to on campus, but it accounts for the fact that you are learning alongside other commitments and on a part-time level, and that you are therefore looking for something slightly different to an on-campus experience. We have dedicated careers support, and I know our colleague from the career service that deals with our online students is here today. We have dedicated study skills support, and that ensures that you stay on track with your online degree, and that's something that was really important to us. You'll see today that the focus with your degree is very much to ensure that we're linking what you're doing in your studies to policy and to practice. And that's to make sure that we have different students that come to us, some that are interested in doing something entirely academic afterwards, and others that may be interested in changing careers or progressing in their career more quickly. So we've designed and embedded in our assessments and in the modules you'll take that link to both policy, theory, and with practice and in practice. So for us, this is really a new way of doing online learning, and therefore I'll hand over to Dr. Mark Kerrigan to talk you through what that looks like in practice. So Mark, over to you.
Brilliant, thanks Hannah, and welcome all. It's great to see you here. So as Hannah said, what I'd like to do is just spend about 10 minutes just talking through SOAS Online, what it looks like, and some of the things that we've been thinking about and doing. So as Hannah mentioned, we've been delivering online for a long time, and really what we've wanted to do when bringing SOAS Online together is take a step back and say, what does excellence in online learning look like now in this very busy, challenging, exciting world that we all occupy? And there's sort of three things that really come to the focus, and for us that is around community, it's around flexibility, and it's around choice as well. Because ultimately, by choosing to study with the university, you are trusting us with your future, you're trusting us with your education, and that really has underpinned a lot of the thinking that we have been doing when thinking about online learning. How do we make sure that our programs deliver on the trust that you show an institution by choosing to study there? So starting with the sort of overarching theme around choice and flexibility, all the programs we're going to be talking about today, they have a PG Cert, a PG Dip, and a master's level route. And you're able to choose all of those at the point of enrollment and the point of entry. And each of those are moved through as well. And then having decided what type of program that you're looking to do, we then have a second one, which is around the length of study as well. So that we have two options at the moment. All of our degrees are part-time, and we have what we're calling a 2-year accelerated route, and we also have a 3-year route as well. Again, recognizing the fact that people have different amounts of time they can then allocate to study, and what we want to do is to try and help people manage study, work, life, and all these things. So we've introduced these two different routes of study. So then moving on to what does actually our degrees look like? And our degrees are built on a series of modules. If we're okay to move to the next slide, please, Magda. Martin. Thank you. So all of our modules, all of our degrees comprise 6 modules. We have 3 modules which we're calling modules 1, 2, and 4. They are within the discipline and within the subject. And then we have modules 3, 5, and 6, which are our interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, cross-subject modules. So again, going back to that global education, that community, those modules bring everyone together to explore research design, a dissertation, a capstone project through the lens of a discipline, but also working with people from lots of different backgrounds and experiences, which is one of the things that we're really excited about, thinking about that sort of space that we're trying to work in. So what I'd like to do is just talk you through some of these modules and how the concept of choice and flexibility works. So all of our programs will have modules 1 and 2, and they are core to all programs. And then we have module 4. Module 4 is a choice module. You may choose to say within your program, or alternatively you may choose to study something completely different, choosing a module from any of our provision. So what I'd like to do is just, if we move on to the next slide, you'll be able to see some of these modules that we have for module 4. I've just seen a note in the chat saying challenges with seeing slides. So I'm just going to pause there just to make sure people can see the presentation. Okay.
Can you see the slides? Module 4. Is it
all good?
Yes.
Yes, we can see them, and I think Tuhin has said they can see them now too. Brilliant. Okay, carry on. Thanks. Thank you, Mark.
Brilliant. Thank you. They literally just appeared on my screen as you were saying. I think everyone's laptops are probably struggling a little bit in the heat today. So as we say, we have these module choices. So you can choose a module within your program, or you can choose to do something completely different. Again, helping you customize the program to your interests. And they're examples of the modules that we have currently running through there. Then continuing the concept of choice, we then move on to module 5, which is, I have to admit, I'm incredibly biased, but that's my favorite module. Module 5 is called Frontiers in Research. And SARS is known for its excellence in research, its thought leadership, its practice, and its work. And Frontiers in Research brings this research, this latest thinking and activity into degree programs. And it's where you're able to choose the people who are doing this work. So Module 5 itself comprises a whole menu of topics, and you're able to choose three-week topics within that module. Again, you may choose to stay within your discipline, or you may choose to do something completely different, or you can do a mixture of the two. Again, helping to customize your degree to your own personal interests and the work that you're doing. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to put some of the examples of this menu on the screen, and I'll just pause for a minute just to let you have a look. So as I say, I'm really excited about this module. This module is going to change every time different topics come available, depending on what the research is happening, what our grants the institution has been awarded, what publications are happening. And that menu will evolve to really help bring that latest thinking, research, practice, policy work into degree programs. So that's the second choice that you're able to have as part of all of our degrees. And then moving into our final module. So as Hannah said right at the beginning, we recognise there are people with different career aspirations, different positions in the world, and some people will be at the beginning of their career, some people will be a little bit later on, some will be working in different types of spaces. And what we wanted to do was have a programme that recognised different aspirations. So again, you can customise that. So in Module 6, this is our final capstone module where you can choose between either doing a dissertation route, and that route is for people who are really interested in an academic career, a research career, postdoc, PhD, going into that space. Or alternatively, we've got something called the professional practice route. These are for people who want to engage in a professional practice project. For example, you could be in work and you want to bring a piece of your work into your degree and work on that as part of your project. Both of these carry equal weighting, equal quality, and they're perceived as equal, and they definitely are. But it's a way of choosing your final capstone module aligned to the interests that you have. And both of those, again, I'm really looking forward to see what people start doing in this space as well. So just as a summary of the other modules that we have as well. So as I say, we have those 3 modules which sit within the discipline. We have the other 3 modules which are the institutional modules. And alongside Frontiers and our capstone module, we also have our advanced skills and research design. That's the last module that people take in the first year of their study. And that one is designed to support research design, research practice, theory, criticality, ethics, and building understanding of how to engage in level 7 research theory and practice around research. So what I'd like to do now is just spend a couple of minutes talking to you about what does a week look like? What does a module look like? Because that's a question that we get quite a lot. So all the modules that I've spoken about all have 14 weeks in total. So they're 14 weeks of study, and that includes a reading week as well. So modules start off with an introduction week. That has about 20 hours of activity. And that activity includes what we call synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. So very similar to what we're doing now. So some synchronous sessions. And that's really important. This isn't a correspondence course. We want you to feel part of the SARS community, meet other people who are studying on your program, engage, talk, and build that network. So all through the activities that we're going to be having, roughly every 2 weeks, there is a synchronous activity. But we also recognize that life is very busy. And so whilst we're going to publish all of these a long time in advance to help people manage their workload, their diaries, and whatever else it needs to be, all those synchronous sessions are also recorded. So if someone can't make it, it's very easy and straightforward to catch up as well. And we built that into all the modules that we're doing. After the module introduction week, we then move into core teaching. And this is approximately 16 hours of study per week. And again, it's a mixture of those synchronous and asynchronous activities every 2 weeks for things like we're doing now. And then the rest of the time, you're going to be engaging in a lot of different type of activities depending on the subject. There'll be individual private study. There will be study with working with others, or co-creation activities, co-development activities. And again, the idea is having lots of different ways of learning and engaging and sort of skill development and practice and subject knowledge that you develop through there. And then the last 2 weeks, you end up with less activity over time, because that's probably where a lot of people are getting used to just finishing their final bits of their assessments before submission at the end. And during that period of time, there's a one-to-one support, tutorial support as well, running through. So that's roughly what a structure looks like for every single module. The dissertation module works a little bit differently, but that's the overarching structure that we have for all of our modules that we're just talking about. And then going back to what Hannah was saying regarding careers and developments, again, we recognise, as we said earlier, that people are in different spaces when they choose a master's programme. We'll have some people who have just completed an undergraduate programme and want to continue study immediately. We'll have some people who may be returning to study. We'll have people who are potentially in work, in potential mid, senior, high-level jobs, who want to continue their development as well. And all of these sort of aspirations, we've built these into the programs as part of career development, either learning new skills, new literacies, new ways of doing things, or enhancing and developing further the skills that you have, as well as having this built into the curriculum. So all of our assessments are aligned to careers activities and development. All of our modules are as well. As Hannah mentioned, we also have a fantastic team who can really help deliver that personalized support, supporting your own future aspirations moving forwards. Then the last slide I have is just a sort of step back regarding some of the technologies we're using. Because one of the things that we also recognised is if we're going to be delivering excellence in online learning, we need to rethink our technological platforms as well. So for SOAS Online, we have a dedicated online learning platform. That's just a wee image of it there. Our synchronous sessions are all delivered via Microsoft Teams, and they're all recorded and then streamed via an internal platform that we have as well. So they're very easily accessible from your modules. And also all of our modules have a built-in Gen AI tool, not to replace our staff because they're absolutely brilliant, but to support learning as well, and that they're there to help you. And then also we have an e-portfolio tool embedded as well. So all the activities that you engage with, you'll build this portfolio over 2 years. And then when you've completed your degree of study, you'll be able to take all of that with you in a structured place to continue applying that to the work activities that you'll be doing upon successful graduation. So I'm going to pause there. I hope that's given you an idea of what the degrees look like, the structures look like, a little bit about the modules, and I'm going to hand over back to our colleagues. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. So we're now going to turn to the programs themselves, because I'm sure you want to hear more about the content side of things and what the programs that we're covering today. So there were 3 areas we wanted to cover today. There is the MSc Banking and Finance, the MSc Public Policy and Management, and the MSc International Business. So whilst you might want to hear about the programs and from our conveners, who we're going to turn to in a second, we also want to hear from you. And in particular, you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner there a QR code, which we're asking you please to scan and let us know where in the world you are coming from. And you'll see as you do so, there's a couple of other questions we're going to ask you, which are also about what program you're interested in, and why you're interested in studying the particular program you've chosen. So you'll see a world map, hopefully, when you scan that QR code, and if you could just let us know where you're coming from. Whilst we do that, I'm going to hand over to Buhong and Kerem. Unfortunately, Hepa hasn't been able to join us today, but I'll talk a bit about Hepa and who she is and her program separately. So I'm going to hand over to Buhong to introduce himself first.
Hello everyone. Yeah, just double check, is my voice clear to all of you?
Yes, all good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, I'm Dr. Buhong Liu, and I'm actually currently the lecturer in finance at SOAS. So before I obtained my PhD in computer science from King's College London and moved to academia, so I had some working experience in a hedge fund and also a fintech company in London for several years. So I hope I can share my industrial insights and also my research in finance and also the fintech with you throughout the learning journey of MSc Banking and Finance. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Buhong. Kerem, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. I think you can hear me well. This is Kerem. So I did my PhD in public policy in the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy at National University of Singapore. And then afterwards, compared to Buhong's professional experience, I call myself a professional student, as I never left the schooling system. So my research interests lie at the intersection of comparative public policy, public administration, regulation, regulatory governance, and political economy in broad terms. And I am convening the on-campus and also online MSc Public Policy Management programs.
Thank you very much, Karim. So I know that Heba is not with us, but just to introduce Heba to you. So Heba is the convener of the MSc International Business Management. She has a PhD in International Entrepreneurship and Strategy, and she has a lot of experience on topics of international business, entrepreneurship, in particular around small and medium enterprise internationalization, workforce nationalization, and entrepreneurship ecosystems. So I will talk a little bit more about her program when we get to it. I know that we often struggle with our mentee to make it work, but I'm wondering whether, Marta, if I pass back to you to see whether it has
Yes,
worked, and
thank
we
you.
might be able to see where everyone is coming from today.
Okay, great. Let me set up the Menti now. I hope you can scan the QR code, and you should be also able to see the QR code in the on the slide. So you've heard a little bit about how it's like to study online at SOAS from Mark and Hannah, but we were very curious to learn a little bit more about you as well, about where you're from, what you're interested in. So if you could please first pin your location on the map. And don't worry if it's a bit fiddly and you end up in another country. I was trying to pin the UK and ended up in Germany. So it's just to give us a bit of an idea how which regions you are coming from. And as we can see, we have a good representation from the Southeast Asia. We have some from Africa, Central Africa, and Eastern Africa. We have quite a few from Europe. We have South Africa as well. We have quite a few applicants from Europe as well, and I think from the UK. Anyone from the Americas? I'm wondering.
Not yet, but feel free, like Hilma, sorry Marta, just not to interrupt you or anything, but if you're unable to do the QR code like Hilma, then feel free, who's joining us from Namibia, feel free to put your location in the chat as well, if the QR code's not working. Sorry, over to you again.
Okay, it seems to be working for 23 people, hopefully. Yeah, you may try with the QR code again, but hopefully. Okay, we have someone joining from Kuwait, Nairobi, Zambia. Brilliant. Okay, wonderful. So I think we can try to go to the next question. Which program are you interested in studying? Banking and finance, public policy and management, international business. Let's have a look. I think you can also choose more than one if you are still undecided at this stage, which is perfectly fine. Let's see. Okay, public policy and management is in the lead. We have quite a few interested in international business, also banking and finance. Okay, let's just see if there are any more votes coming. And I'm just going to check the chat. Okay, we have more representatives from public policy, banking and finance as well, international business as well. Okay, brilliant. So now we have an open question for you. Essentially, why are you interested in studying this particular program or program and SOAS? It's an open question, so you can take a bit of time to answer, but also feel free to add the answer in the chat. And we will see what's coming up. We have some answers coming up already. Let's see. Okay. Career change is the big topic, definitely. Mhm. Global outlook for some. SOAS reputation. Brilliant. My employer encouraged me to explore SOAS online degrees. That's fantastic to hear. Yes, still, I think the career change, we have very much career-oriented group here. Also conscious of SOAS's global reputation and degrees that interact with various topics regarding the Global South. Brilliant. And we have some interested in languages as well. So as you can see, it's a very diverse and brilliant group of students that you might be working with. Okay, I'm just going to check if there are any more answers coming up. Some also noted reasonable fees, which is great. Kuzi would like to get a better understanding of global financial systems and how my work in consulting can be enriched in gaining the skill set. Brilliant. So also growing in the given career trajectory. Okay, so I think unless there are any other answers, please do feel free to share in the chat. I think we'll need to continue with our presentation. So I'm just going to stop here and come back to our brilliant conveners. And also, I think Hannah Alberto is here,
Yes.
so potentially
Exactly.
Alberto may also add on behalf of Hiba. But now we'll move back to our brilliant Buhong, who will tell you a little bit more about MSc Banking and Finance. So over to you, Buhong.
Okay, thank you, Marta. Yeah, thanks again for joining us today. I'm very pleased to introduce our MSc Banking and Finance online program. So it is designed for those who want to, for example, change the career or fight to build a stronger foundation in finance while engaging within the rapidly evolving and data-driven financial world right now. So as you may know, finance today is undergoing a profound transformation. So on one hand, traditional areas such as banking, financial management, and financial markets remain essential. And on the other hand, the increasing role of data analytics and artificial intelligence is reshaping how financial decisions are made. So this program is designed to bring these two dimensions together. So you will have a solid grounding in core finance and a forward-looking, data-driven perspective. So students are prepared not only for today's financial industry, but also for how it is evolving in the future. The program offers a comprehensive and integrated contents across key areas of finance. So you will begin by developing a strong understanding of financial systems through modules such as banking and financial management, where you will explore how banks operate, manage risk, and make strategic financial decisions. And also the module government policy, banking, and financial markets, which examines the interaction between financial institutions, regulation, and the broader economic environment. So these modules provide the institutional and policy context that is essential for understanding real-world finance. And at the same time, the program develops your analytical and quantitative capabilities. So through modules such as these two modules we have mentioned, so you will also learn some advanced topics in the lab sessions. So in the lab, you will work with financial data, build and interpret models, support evidence-based financial decisions. So we will also introduce especially quantitative module, which is called machine learning in finance. So it will allow you to engage with how technology is shaping areas such as forecasting, risk analysis, and financial strategy. So overall, the program is designed to give you, the breadth across banking, policy, and market, and depth in analytical and data-driven finance. All right, thank you, Marta, for moving to the next slide. Yeah, so as an online program, it is carefully designed to be both flexible and structured. So each module follows a guided learning journey that combines live interactive sessions, self-paced learning materials, and applied exercise and case studies. And importantly, the program is designed to be accessible to students from diverse academic backgrounds. So there's no strict requirement, and we will provide pre-arrival quantitative support and also the continued support throughout the program. So this ensures that all students can progressively build confidence in quantitative and analytical skills, regardless of their starting point. And by the end of the program, you will have developed a strong understanding of banking systems and financial markets, the ability to analyze financial data and interpret results, and a set of transferable analytical and problem-solving skills. And these are highly relevant across a wide range of careers, including banking and financial services, fintech and data-driven financial roles, consulting and policy-relevant positions. Perhaps most importantly, the program will prepare you for the future adoption of finance as financial systems become more and more complex and increasingly shaped by the data, technology, and global uncertainty. There is a growing need for professionals who can understand both financial fundamentals and analytical and technological approaches. So that is the main purpose of this program. So prepare you for the future the future need of the financial system. So to summarize, the MSc Banking and Finance offers a comprehensive foundations in finance, a data-driven and forward-looking perspective, and flexible, supportive learning environment. So we look forward to welcoming you who are curious, motivated, and interested in engaging with the evolving world of finance. And thank you again, and I will hand it over to my colleagues.
Okay, so I continue with MSc Public Policy Management. We have great interest in our course. So thank you everyone again for making your time and joining us today. So I'm again Karen, convener of our online learning and on-campus MSc Public Policy Management program. So first of all, I would. This is also my how I start in the very first session of my modules at the very beginning of an academic semester year, which is so what is public policy, or to start with, what is politics? So simply, we are looking at who gets what, when, how, and public policy defines who the policy targets, how is the policy instrument, and when is the timing, whether you are given some rewards or securities, or you are facing penalties like taxes or like inspections and so on. So all those instruments, these could be monetary, these could be authority, these could be sometimes even regulatory or organizational instruments. So we are looking at who gets what, when, how in this course in a very overarching look and from a very broader outlook. So what do we actually look at in this course? So we have been thinking about, once we were restructuring our course, looking at the most demanding and also pressing challenges in our policy issues, problems, which are currently hot in our policy agendas. And we are, even as ordinary citizens, we are experiencing the results of policy actions, or sometimes even inactions, as we are currently experiencing this heat wave, which is we are just experiencing as ordinary citizens, individuals, the results of sustainability, environmental, and also climate policies, right? So this is where we are looking at the those recent challenges and some policies that have moved up in policy agendas like industrial policy, sustainability, and digital government. So what we do here is, so in terms of the modules, as you will see in a minute, so we are providing a global perspective across continents, regions, and countries. What does it mean? So it means, despite the fact that SOAS is and its historical legacy is to focus on Asia, Middle East, and Africa. So we do also have cases on the countries and their experiences, such as in Latin America or in the Oceania. So we do have those like mixes of covering, mixes of geographies of the world, and you will be exposed to and have experience about, and also the knowledge and information about the similar policy challenges and how different countries and different geographies actually respond or cannot respond. And you will definitely develop theoretical and analytical practical insights about like how governments and public agencies operate, and especially looking at across these different policy areas, and also and those government agencies practices across the various, say, regions of the world. So why would you, come to SOAS and study public policy management with us? So first of all, as you will be part of this interdisciplinary department, as we call it, very interdisciplinary in terms of like it hosting even say accounting, business, organizations, finance, regulation, public policy, public administration. So you will be able to not just enroll in our modules here, your compulsory, but as you have those openings from all other like departments as well. So you will be able to develop your curriculum and your study and your trajectory, your learning journey in an interdisciplinary context as well. And then you will be exposed to even at least, with the program and its core modules. So you will have understanding, you will develop critical skills in terms of asking more questions, critical questions, and also developing analytical skills, practical skills to understand and also to develop some insights about how we could address our current pressing policy problems like emerging technologies, how to regulate them, demographic changes, healthcare costs, for example, and even industrial transformation. And finally, as at the end of the program, so we are aiming to equip you with those critical, practical, analytical, but also theoretical tools and skills for you to be able to go back to your jobs, your future endeavors, or your current job, perhaps, and even to like build up and also make those changes and lead those changes in your next chapters or in your current chapters. So when it comes to the structure of the program, so we start with digital government and AI, artificial intelligence in public services, or in other words, in the public sector. So what do we aim with this? So with this module is actually we know digitalization is shaping not just the business or management, but also public sector as well. And this also transforms state-citizen relations. So this could be even from surveillance to even e-government initiatives, even electronic or remote public participation in budgeting processes, or even say just raising your voice as an ordinary taxpayer, citizen, and so on. So those infrastructures also transform how citizens and states interact. And they also transform how policies are made, right? So we are looking at the in this module, the requisite skills and capacities for effective digital transformation, but not just looking at the state side, but also how we can regulate effectively disruptive technologies like AI, and then also the global challenges like cybersecurity and also state capacity against the big tech, for example. And then engage in a critical manner with these real-world debates and their consequences and their implications. So when it comes to the second module, so sustainability and public policy, so we will go through the conceptualization and governance of sustainability across multiple levels, and also we analyze climate change policies. So we look at circularity, energy transition, budgeting and public finance for sustainability, energy policy, and how rentier states are responding or cannot respond to sustainability. And we also link, for example, sustainability to industry policy. So throughout the whole program, so you will be able to make those connections across modules. And finally, as part of our online interactions every 2 weeks, as also Mark mentioned, and through even AI-assisted literature reviews, conceptual mappings, offline forums, as you will be using. So you have access to and will be asked to throughout the 16 or 20 hours of weekly commitment, you will be engaging in very different activities, and assignments are involve recording your podcasts or reflecting on policy instruments of your country of origin or where you are based in. So it will give you a sense of developing different skills in terms of policy briefs, assessments, and also reaching out to other different stakeholders, and learning how to make those modes of reaching out, and also developing those critical, practical, analytical tools and skills. I can hand over to Hannah.
Thank you, Karen. Yes, thank you very much. And I know I introduced Heba earlier, but that was a bit premature because we're actually joined by the head of the School of Finance and Management, Alberto. So Alberto, I think you're with us still, is that correct? Can't see you.
Yes, thank you, Hannah.
Yes. Over to you, please, Alberto.
Thank you, Hannah. And I will take a few minutes to introduce the program of MSc International Business. First, nice to meet you digitally, everyone. My name is Alberto Asquer, reader in Public Policy and Management, but currently acting as head of department, from where School of Finance and Management. These three programs we're presenting today largely intellectually originate. But let's zoom into the MSc International Business and what is in particular here at SOAS. Well, first, international business, as all the applicants must know quite well, is a very dynamic space in the last few years. Just to name three out of the many tendencies we could observe, certainly a change of shape in globalization. Some people may argue a bit of deglobalization, or certainly reglobalization we're experiencing in these years, stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic disruptions, and then, as we know, as in several geopolitical competition tensions, this have called for a reconceptualization in terms of more resilience and possibly diversification of risk of international supply chains. A second aspect is what already Karen mentioned, industrial policy, which has become just more explicit within the business environment. Therefore, for businesses operating internationally, taking into account the role of governments, from procurement to public-private partnerships, has become as well quite crucial. And then, of course, there is the technological domain. There is AI and all related issues concerning intellectual property protection, data sovereignty, various approaches, philosophies, strategies of regulation that we see from various main economies. And that's not only AI, of course. Look at genome editing or many other technologies nowadays. They do have the potential to be quite disruptive in many industries. Now, studying international business, I believe, positions itself on a particular layer, on the top of changes in technologies, in industrial strategies, changes in lifestyles, demographics of countries, and so on. So we have this layer where businesses struggle with questions like, so what are going to be the next strategies they're going to implement? And I confess I'm old enough now to remember the very early days of the internet, for instance, kind of 30 years ago, and how the scholarship and practitioners grappled around certain questions like, but how can the internet be a source of sustainable competitive advantage, for instance? And it was quite clear that if anyone can have a website, well, by itself, the website is not any source of differentiation, of uniqueness. And then a point, of course, is to come to realize the internet was as enabler of novel business models which could disrupt existing industries. Take from Amazon to Duolingo to Uber and so and so. And so nowadays, possibly we face a similar scenario where access to large language models, diffusion models, various types of AI are to greater or lesser extent becoming available to businesses. Of course, there are the foundation and the frontier models behind the paywalls, but as you know, also the space of open source is moving on quite quickly. But that's the technological layer. On the top of it, there is the business and the strategic layer, and that's where international business scholars and practitioners have to cope with these puzzling questions. So far as a matter of introduction towards this area, but Marta, that's fine, if we move to the next slide, I can also flag the key component parts of the MSc International Business. Students will start obviously from questions around the strategy. So as I said earlier, the global business strategy, competing across borders, and apart from the technological aspect, policy regulation aspects, and so also other components, like for instance being sensitive to cultural nuances and varieties across countries is still quite important. Module 2 made a choice to have as a second core module leading people in the global workplace, because obviously all businesses do large center on humans, on the skills, knowledge, motivation, passion, if you like, also of individuals, but certainly again changes like in the space of AI are leading to a deeper reconceptualization of what are really the skills individuals need and what kind of lifelong learning journey they need to be accompanied in order to enable businesses to operate effectively. Then the structure is quite similar to the other programs, so I don't want to be redundant, but just to flag module 4, students have the choice to pick financial strategy for international business in particular, or to pick another out of the list of M4 modules. And just to mention here, for managers in international business, obviously, as well as the human resource component, the financial component is quite crucial. Think of issues like handling risk from the financial perspective, the space of insurance, the space of novel payment systems, which are popping up, from stable coins to digital infrastructures in countries like India, for example. And so also the financial strategy for international business becomes quite crucial. If I may mention one last idea to share as head of department to why to study at SOAS, I'd say the cosmopolitan nature of our faculty. I run through as a quick calculation. We are 27 academics in the department, and we come from more than 20 countries, from many continents in the world. And this gives the idea of the extent of variety of perspectives we try to pass to our students. That's all from my side. Hannah and Marta, back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alberto. Yes, so to thank very much the programme conveners and to talk you through a little bit the next steps, you will hopefully be able to see in the Q&A box some key dates and some links to resources that might be useful. So just to summarise some of the key dates, because they're approaching quite quickly now, and in particular, we do have a scholarship available for our SOAS Online degrees. The deadline to apply for that scholarship is the 30th of June, so that's next week. So that's a kind of imminent deadline. Otherwise, we have 2 intakes, both September and January. If you're intending on joining us in September, then the application deadline is the 17th of August. And if you're intending on joining us in January, then the application deadline is December. So they're the key dates to make you aware of. As I say, they're in the Q&A section of the Teams meeting today. So feel free to look at those in more detail there. In terms of you staying in touch with us, you've heard from the programme conveners today. Most of you probably have already completed an express your interest form, which is why you've heard about today's webinar. If you haven't done so and you found this through Eventbrite or some other means, or your employer has made you aware, then feel free to let us know via the expression of interest form so that we can keep you up to date with any follow-ups, any potential future webinars, etc. If you've got questions about the admissions process, then you can email the online admissions email address that's there. So onlineadmissions@soas.ac.uk. And if you've got questions about the scholarship, then there's a devoted scholarships team email address as well. If you've got questions and then about the programs, then you'll see that each of the program pages, if you scroll to the bottom, will have the name of the program convener, and they're the colleagues that have joined us today. And again, as Alberto has said, we're a cosmopolitan, but also we're quite a small institution. And the nice thing is that you can have a direct conversation with those program conveners if you've got questions, things that you want to explain, expand on, ask them to expand on, then that's the way to do so. So feel free to contact the program conveners. And obviously we've got the today as well. So if you've got specific questions, then use the opportunity in a second to ask those to us. So based on that, we are now getting to the question and answers. What we thought we would do is actually, whilst you're thinking about any questions, and feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A box, and we will come to those, it will be useful to maybe reflect on a couple of other webinars we have held for other programme areas on the types of questions that have come up frequently. So one of the things, and I think you might remember that Kerem mentioned that there are 16 hours per week of work. That's it, and a lot of students have asked, how does that actually look like, given these are part-time degrees? And I know there was a question earlier today, can you do these degrees full-time? They're all part-time degrees. Well, how this works is that you are expected, broadly speaking, to spend 16 hours a week during the 14-week period that a module is running. Now, this will depend if you're doing a 2-year degree part-time or a 3-year degree. If you're doing it over 3 years, then you're taking 2 of those 14-week blocks over the entire year. And therefore, there is an opportunity over those 14 weeks. You don't necessarily need to do 16 hours every single week. You might have some weeks where you're doing less or more, you've got more time needed at work. So there's a lot of flexibility built into there. So whilst we ensure that we're keeping you on track, and I think Kerem explained that quite nicely, that there's lots of activities we ask you to engage with to keep you on track, and that's something that other students have fed back to us is very important, not to lose that connection. There is also a way that you can manage that. And in particular, if you're doing the programme over 3 years, then there's an opportunity to have kind of longer periods in between those modules running. If you're doing it over 2 years, then you're doing 3 14-week blocks. Okay, I'm aware we're running out of time, so let me make sure I cover these other FAQs and then I'll come to the others. Are there opportunities to engage in activities and events on campus in London? And can you switch between online and on campus? So our online degrees have been designed to be entirely online. So there's no opportunity to switch between on campus and online. However, if you happen to be in London, or if you happen to be a student that is coming to an online degree in London, which we increasingly have students that do so, then absolutely you are incredibly welcome on campus to come to our fantastic National Treasure Library, as well as our other activities and events that the departments specifically run, as well as our careers and study skills services. So yes, that doesn't mean you are at a disadvantage if you can't join us in person, because all those things I just mentioned also have a mirror that is an online version. So you can absolutely access things like workshops for study skills that are run online. Can you take a break from your studies? So as I mentioned with the kind of management of the 16 hours per week, absolutely you can decide on having a short break for a couple of weeks and then returning and doing more intense study to catch up. If you need a longer period of time away, then you can take an interruption of studies, which essentially gives you an entire year away from your studies, and then you re-return to join that course. Just to be aware, if you want to switch, if you start off on a 2-year track and you then say, actually, I need longer, and you switch to 3 years, just to be aware that not every single module that you might need to take will be running in every session. So it may delay how quickly you can finalise your degree. A lot of students ask us about the degree certificates and whether they say that you studied online. They don't. They will give you a SOAS degree and they won't state that it was studied, the method it was studied. It will be a master's programme, for example, if that's what you intend on doing. Can you tell us more about the study tours? So this is a question that has come up a few times. So this is an additional opportunity that students can undertake. It was originally offered only from the Department of Politics and International Studies, but we have now opened it to all students that are online as well as in person. And it's a fantastic opportunity to network essentially with a broader range of students from across our programs. Destinations, at the moment, I know some of them are still to be confirmed, but you can see on the left-hand side there, New Delhi, Lahore, Seoul, etc. There's more information about that in the autumn. As I say, that's at an additional cost to the course, but you are very welcome to join that, and it gives you that first-hand experience to learn about other regions of the world and to learn from students and the experts that facilitate those study tours. So with 1 minute to spare, let me make sure that I've covered all the questions that we've had in the chat. I don't know, Marta, whether you've picked up anything so far that we want to make sure. I can see there's a question from Tuhin about class sizes. So class sizes differ slightly to online. We will ensure that we have groups that are no bigger than 25 students, but most of the learning you will be doing will be actually, in a sense, you can choose how you want to engage and when you want to engage, but we will have every couple of weeks an opportunity to come together as a group of maximum 25 students facilitated by an academic to facilitate a discussion if you wish to participate in that. That is all recorded, so those that are unable to join don't need to make time for that. They can then access that afterwards as a recording. There's a question from Maria about getting the English language test results, whether they can be done before or after. And thank you. Fabiola has already responded. Fabiola's from our admissions team. Yes, it's possible to do so. So hopefully that answers that. Brilliant. And Olga's also responded. Marta, have you seen any other questions I haven't managed to cover?
There is a question about postgraduate economics. Will you reinstate postgraduate economics?
So at the moment, we are having conversations with our economics department colleagues to look at potentially a degree, an MSc degree in economic policy. And that's something that's currently a conversation that we're having, but it's not yet ready to launch this September. These things can often take a bit of time, but keep an eye out and watch this space, and we will definitely let students and applicants know if that's something that will be offered. Anything else in the chat? Okay, Sunny has got a long list of questions.
Just to mention that our colleague shared a page referring to discounts and scholarships online, so please do take a look at it.
Okay, so I can see, Sunny, you've got a nice long list of questions there. I'm going to focus on the ones that I didn't cover, and that is the question about assignments and exams. So just to be completely clear with everyone, we do not have examinations for our SOAS online degrees. So instead, all assessments are assessments that are relevant to the content, but also relevant to potential future career trajectories. And I think Karen mentioned a few of those, whether it's developing a podcast, whether it's traditional more report writing or a kind of consultancy brief. So it will differ depending on the module you're taking, but it will not be an examination. So I hope that helped answer that question. I think most of those other ones. So in terms of module registration, you don't register for the module, you'll register for the academic year. And depending on whether you're registering for a 3-year pathway or a 2-year, you will then select the modules you're selecting. So in September, if you're coming for the 2-year pathway, you already have selected your 3 modules that you're going to be taking. You can, however, pay in installments if you wish. So you don't need to pay everything up front when you come in September. So it's not a model of module by module, but instead it's a model of actually saying, what are you going to take for the entire year ahead? And then we organize the payment structure so that you can ensure that you can pay over the year. I hope that helps. Anything else come up? Yes, so Tuhin, in terms of, we used to have programs that run with different modules and students could select. We've integrated that now, and I hope you heard at the beginning from Mark about the Frontiers of Research module, which is really an opportunity for us to bring in fresh, cutting-edge, research-led content that you as a student can select up to 3 options within that module to get that kind of optionality and hear from experts in their field. So rather than having different modules that then we have to ensure they're running at different times, we wanted to ensure we can maximize that access to as many students as possible through that Frontiers of Research module. Okay, and thank you. Olga has put in the chat some details about English language requirements for those that have questions around that. Is there anything any of my colleagues can see that they might want to respond to? No?
There was a question on access to study support.
Yes, thank you.
So one of the things.
Go on, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, so one of the things we recognise that some people are new to learning online, and so we have a great team to help people transition to that. So the first module you do, there's some allocated activity which is called Success to Study Online at SOAS, or a name akin to that, which really does introduce you to the technologies, the structures, and how everything works there. Alongside that, there's definitely support you can contact if you have specific questions, requirements, advice or guidance. The team are there to help to make sure when you start, you get everything ready to move into learning. So that's something we offer for all students.
Thank you very much, Mark.
There's also a question about CEFIMS. Tuhin noted that CEFIMS had a number of modules earlier and whether they have been refreshed now into SOAS Online.
I covered that one, Marta. That was the Frontiers of Research. So that's all right. Hard to keep track, isn't it, of multitasking across. I think we've covered the majority of the questions. I know that we're pretty much out of time. If there is anything anyone wants to raise, then please do feel free to contact the program conveners in particular on the program pages and just make use of the resources that are on the Q&A page, and I know that admissions colleagues have added to the chat. And otherwise, we very much hope to see you, likely virtually, but if you do decide to come on campus, then maybe on campus, and wish you the best of luck with your application. Thank you very much, everybody.